The pumpkin scone really is an iconic Australian treat. Today I'm going to show you just how easy it is to convert this classic treat to gluten-free without losing that light, fluffy, delicious texture. For all of the tastiest, simplest and most delicious gluten-free recipes, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified when I post a new recipe every Wednesday. Hello, my name is Stacey Dad and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am the chief owner and baker at Champagne and Gumboots, an exclusively 100% gluten-free bakery that specialises in creating delicious sweet treats that every celiac can enjoy, that taste so good they'll never know they're gluten-free. And now I'm sharing all of my baking secrets with you, because why should you have to miss out? So let's get into it. We are going to start by preheating our oven to a very hot 220 degrees Celsius, and we're going to line a baking tray just with baking paper, or if you want to do it traditionally, using a bare tray just sprinkled with some flour. First off, we're going to, in a bowl, put our half a cup of caster sugar and 14 grams of butter. Yes, I said 14 grams. Why 14 grams? Well, that's what worked out when I wrote the recipe. No, it's a little bit less than a tablespoon, and I found a full tablespoon was too greasy. So 14 grams it is. We are going to use our handheld beaters, and we're going to mix it together until it becomes kind of a buttery, granulated, sugary mess. It's not going to cream per se because there's not enough butter in it. Let's go. Now that our butter has incorporated slightly into our sugar mix, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of hot water. 1 tablespoon of water is in, and now we're just going to use the beaters again, and this time it's going to become a little bit of a creamy mixture, more akin to what you would normally see in, say, a biscuit recipe. Now we're going to add 1 and a bit eggs. We're going to add 1 whole egg and the egg whites of a second, but you want to make sure you hang on to your egg yolks because we're going to use this to brush our scones with at the end. The extra egg white here is a common technique we use in gluten-free baking, as egg whites, did not do a very good job of that. Egg whites tend to give us the binding action that the gluten protein would normally. That's the problem when we remove gluten. Gluten protein actually does an awful lot of different things to a baked good. So we need to use multiple different techniques and multiple ingredients to try and replicate that. So in this case, we're adding in extra egg white to give you a little bit more fluff and lift. We're going to beat again and bring it into a mixture. Once that's well incorporated and you've got kind of a fluffy, creamy mixture, we're going to add in our pumpkin. So what I have here is 250 grams of mashed, steamed butternut pumpkin. Now you can use any pumpkin flavour you like. I just happen to really like butternut, and they are very commonly in season. So I have just very simply steamed that in the microwave, just on the root vegetable setting, and then just lightly mashed with a fork. Honestly, it doesn't need to be anything too crazy. Again, we're going to use our beaters to bring it all together. And what type of scone do you prefer? Are you a classic plain with cream and jam, or do you prefer cheese and herb, or a pumpkin scone's your favourite? Let me know in the comments below. Now in this recipe, we're going to use a couple of different types of flour. The reason for this is to give that really beautiful light mouthfeel and texture, and that comes from adding rice flour. But first off, we're going to add 1 1/4 cups of a gluten-free, self-raising flour blend. The great thing about this recipe is that you can use any flour blend you like. It really doesn't matter. So I'm just going to bang that in. Then we're going to go in with 1 cup of white rice flour. Now lastly, we're adding in extra xanthan gum. Normally you would not need to do this in most gluten-free recipes, as xanthan gum is already combined in your store-bought gluten-free flours. But we are combining rice flour here on its own, and this doesn't have any extra xanthan gum in it. Not to mention the fact that adding extra xanthan gum is giving us more stretch and malleability, which will make it easier to roll out the scones and cut them. Okay, so we are going to use 1 1/2 teaspoons of xanthan gum. The great thing about xanthan gum now is that it is so readily available. You can find it in any good supermarket, including almost all Woolworths and Coles across the country. And we are just simply going to bring those ingredients together with a spoon. Quite simple. Alrighty, now that our ingredients have come together, you'll find they will clump a little bit, but they're not ridiculously moist. This will come together once we roll it out. We're just going to take a little bit of extra flour. You can use rice or self-raising flour, it's completely up to you. On our bench, just going to get our hands covered a little bit here because it is sticky. And we're going to roll this into a ball. Now, when you bring it together in your hands, you might find your mixture is a little bit dry. You can always go by look and feel. And so if it is a little bit crumbly, just simply add maybe 2 teaspoons of water, just a little bit at a time, work it back into the dough and bring it together and see how you go. Here though, we've got a nice light dough, and all we're going to do is honestly pat it out a little bit, and just with a lightly floured rolling pin, we're just going to roll it out a little bit. Remember, we want height in our scone because this isn't a traditional scone, it's quite wet. It's not going to give you as much poof or lift as you normally would expect. So we leave our scones quite chunky, I'd say a good couple of centimetres, and then we're going to use a 60mm or 6cm cutter. I like the crinkly kind because it gives you that little bit of a classic look. And then we're just going to very simply cut out your scones. You see? Beautiful, nice height. And I'm just going to arrange them in the middle of my tray. Be sure to put your scones just up against each other. I'm just going to bring the leftovers back together again. Same technique, pat it down a little, roll it out a little, try and keep it as a similar height as you can. Flour our cutter straight down, lift up. So always have a little bit left over. I just kind of roughly form it into a ball. So you get kind of a scone looking type shape. And our scones are ready. Now, let me just clean up briefly and we'll move on to the next step. Now, do you remember that extra egg yolk we saved? We're going to need it now. We're going to give it just a very light whisking, and using a pastry brush, we're just going to brush the tops of our scones quite generously. Bonus tip for you, and this applies to any baked good that you might glaze with egg or milk. Never, ever glaze around the sides. This applies to sausage rolls, anything with pastry or any kind of scone. Never brush the sides, as what you're doing is sealing the sides and it's not going to give as much lift and fluff. So you want that nice, beautiful golden brown crusty top, but you want the sides left clean. Now they're all glazed, we're going to pop them straight into our very hot oven. Remember, 220 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. Our scones have just come out of the oven. They are beautiful, just very lightly browned, and have given you that nice little split and a nice bit of fluff. Now check this out. These are ready to go. Ideally serve with lashings of salted butter. Always serve fresh, hot, straight from the oven, because as with any scones, they don't last that long. But if you did want to make them last a little longer, whack them in an airtight container for a couple of days, or better yet, freeze them, so you've got a perfect, sweet, gluten-free treat anytime. Do you want to learn more about how to convert your favourite classic recipes to gluten-free simply and easily? Then be sure to subscribe to my newsletter and download your free 7 steps to nailing gluten-free baking. And you'll be back to whipping up gluten-free goodies for your whole family in no time. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more delicious gluten-free step-by-step recipes every Wednesday. When was the last time you had a delicious gluten-free fluffy scone? Let me know in the comments below. Now I'm headed back to the kitchen to work on my next delicious gluten-free recipe for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the kitchen. Mm-hmm.